Have you ever wondered what samsara truly is? Many of us tend to think of samsara, the cycle of rebirth, as a story about our next life, a place we will go only after we close our eyes for the last time. But according to the teachings of the Buddha, from the deepest perspective, samsara is not far away. It doesn't wait for our final breath. Samsara is happening right now, right here, in every single fraction of a second within our minds. Samsara is simply the repetition of our habits, our thoughts, and our emotions. And the steering wheel of this cycle is karma, the energy generated by our actions, words, and thoughts every single day. Corresponding to these karmic energies are the 6 realms. While they can be understood as physical dimensions in the cosmos, their most immediate and truthful nature is psychological. They are 6 states of consciousness that each of us might step into and out of dozens of times in a single day. Let's take a journey into the landscape of your own mind. First, let's talk about the hell realm. When we hear hell, we usually imagine boiling cauldrons and swords. But Buddhist psychology calls this the state of extreme anger, hatred, and unbearable suffering. Have you ever been so angry at someone that your heart pounded? Your face burned, and your mind was consumed solely by destructive, vindictive thoughts? In that exact moment, you were no longer in the human realm. Your mind was burning in the fires of hell. That fire was ignited by your own rage, and the first person being burned, the one suffering the most, was you. The second state is the hungry ghost realm, the realm of the pretas. The symbolic image of a hungry ghost is a creature with a belly as massive as a drum, but a throat as thin as a needle. What does this mean? It represents a state of endless craving and bottomless greed. You might desperately crave love, crave validation, crave the newest piece of technology, or a larger bank account. Yet, no matter how much you acquire, you still feel empty and deprived. This craving gnaws at your soul, making it impossible to ever feel satisfied or at peace. That is the karma of greed, trapping you in the realm of the hungry ghosts. This realm represents ignorance and a life driven entirely by primal instinct. In this state, we live mechanically. We wake up, eat, go to work, make money, sleep, reproduce, and protect our territory. We fear change, we refuse to learn, and we avoid looking deeply into the meaning of life. When we live solely to satisfy the most basic needs of the physical body, acting purely on survival instincts and blindly defending our egos, our consciousness has taken residence in the animal realm. The 4th state is the Asura realm, the realm of the demigods or fighting titans. Beings in this state actually have a lot of good karma. They might be highly intelligent, talented, successful, and wealthy. But they have a core affliction, deep jealousy and extreme competitiveness. In the Asura state, your mind is constantly comparing yourself to others. You might do good deeds, not out of pure compassion, but because you want to be praised more than the person next to you. You always feel like you are in a race. Someone else's success feels like your personal failure. Even standing at the peak of glory, your soul is constantly at war, unable to find a single day of genuine peace. Now, we ascend to the heavenly realm, the realm of the devas. This is the state of immense joy, pleasure, and ultimate satisfaction. You experience this when you achieve a massive goal, when you are deeply in love, or when you have a profoundly peaceful meditation session. Everything feels perfect. Good karma and merit have brought you here. However, the Buddha gently reminds us heaven is not the final destination because it is temporary. When the good karma is exhausted, when the joy inevitably fades, without wisdom, we fall into a deep sense of loss and tumble back into the lower realms of samsara. Attachment to happiness is still a cage, even if the cage is made of gold. And finally, the most special stopping point, the human realm. The human realm is where we currently reside. It is the most balanced state of all. Here, we have enough joy to keep us from falling into absolute despair, but we also experience enough suffering to wake us up. The human state grants us free will, the ability to discern right from wrong, and most importantly the perfect opportunity to practice and cultivate our minds. As each day passes, depending on how we react to the world, our minds rule through these 6 realms. We wake up feeling peaceful and content we are in heaven. We get cut off in traffic and scream in anger we drop into hell. We scroll through social media and obsess over a new outfit we become a hungry ghost. We see a coworker get promoted and feel bitter we turn into an Asura. This is samsara. It is a ceaseless wheel of the mind, powered by the karma of our habits, our greed, our anger, and our ignorance. But the good news is, you hold the key. The Buddha didn't teach us about the 6 realms to frighten us. He taught this so we could recognize it. Awareness is the first step toward liberation. When you find yourself erupting in anger, take a deep breath and tell yourself, my mind is falling into the hell realm. The very moment that awareness flickers on, the fire of anger loses its fuel. And you immediately return to the human realm, regaining control. The ultimate goal of Buddhism is not merely to accumulate good karma to stay in the heavenly realm forever, because even those joys will fade. The highest goal is to recognize this constant shifting of the mind, to let go of attachments, to practice compassion and wisdom, and step by step. Step entirely off this wheel of samsara. That is the state of absolute freedom nirvana. Right at this very moment, which realm are you in? The choice of where to go next rests entirely within your next breath, and your own mindfulness. 1. Impermanence teaches us absolute appreciation. Because everything will eventually change and pass away, the present moment becomes priceless. Impermanence reminds us that the person sitting in front of you, the health you currently enjoy, or the sunset you are watching, will only happen exactly like this once in your lifetime. Understanding impermanence is not about mourning the inevitable loss, but about loving fiercely and living fully without regrets while things are still here. 2. Impermanence is the foundation of hope and transformation. We often fear change, but imagine if things were permanent. Pain would last forever, the impoverished could never prosper. And someone who made a mistake could never seek redemption. Thanks to impermanence, sadness will eventually fade, wounds will heal, and we always have the chance to start over. Impermanence is, in fact, the door to hope. 3. Samsara reminds us of our ultimate responsibility. Samsara teaches us that we are not victims of fate or the arbitrary will of a higher power. Every circumstance we experience is the result of the seeds karma we have sown. Understanding this stops us from playing the victim and complaining. We realize we are the architects of our own lives. If the present is the result of the past, then right now, through wholesome thoughts and kind actions, we have the absolute power to design a brighter future. 4. Suffering comes from attachment, not from the nature of things. Samsara and impermanence show us that the universe is a continuous, flowing stream. Water must flow to remain clear. Suffering does not arise because things change, it arises because we demand impermanent things to be permanent. We cling to youth, hold on to love, and grasp at status. Letting go non-attachment does not mean throwing everything away, it means deeply enjoying things while they are here, and peacefully waving goodbye when it is time for them to leave.